Are we live?
That was, yeah, now we are. I was so thrown off by that music, dude. What the heck was that? That was some like yacht rock or some like slow jam stuff.
We're ready for a new beginning.
New beginnings. Welcome to the Max Effort Kitchen podcast, everybody. I am Matt. This is Cornell. We are your host for tonight. Lots of stuff to talk about, but I got a fun little coffee drink. You want to hear it?
I do.
You may have heard about it. You may have not. I don't know. But I definitely got all the makings for it. And I'm going to do it probably tomorrow morning. So I know you've heard of whipped honey, right?
Yep.
Okay. So it's taking and you put honey at the bottom of the glass or whatever you're mixing things and you whip it. You can take one of those, like, those milk frothers, you put it in there and it'll turn a different color. It'll turn pale. It'll grow in volume. And then you take some instant coffee, and it's the yellow brown stuff of Bertello's, or I can't remember the name brand of it.
Colombian?
Yes.
Okay.
And you throw that in there with about a quarter cup of hot water, and then you put the frother back in there, and it just grows through the whole glass, right?
A Delgado.
Is that what this is called?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Never had one before. So I'm going to do that, and then you pour it over.
I haven't done it with the honey.
Okay.
I haven't done it with the honey.
Okay.
But the way that, you're about to be in for a nice surprise.
Awesome.
The way we did it and the way I learned about it, this was like a big thing during the lockdown stuff when all the crazy new stuff was coming out. And It was, I think, 2 tablespoons of boiling water, a tablespoon of sugar, and a tablespoon of instant coffee.
Okay.
And then, you just froth the hell out of it, and it turns into like a mousse or something like that.
Exactly. And then you pour it over milk or something, right?
And then it won't pour. You take your milk and your ice, and you put it in your cup, and then you scoop it on top.
Oh.
And it's a total party trick. It is good. I mean,
okay.
If I don't have access to a coffee maker, I can always buy instant coffee and sugar, and I have access to hot water, and you can make something very similar. Like if you're not that I recommend shaking anything in a shaker cup that's hot because they explode, but you can figure out a way to make something that is very comparable to this, anywhere you are, on a trip.
Well, see, and when I was, I'm going to say probably 15 years ago now, I used to work in a kitchen, and I was the only white boy in that kitchen. And the rest of them were Latino, and they would do this thing where they would just put a pot of water on the stove, a bunch of this, coffee. They would just basically make instant coffee with like lemon slices and cinnamon sticks. And I still to this day, I have a weird special place for instant coffee. I like it. I think it's great.
I don't think I like it as black coffee.
Okay.
But it's just an ingredient I don't know how they do it, and I don't really care.
Yeah, I know, right?
But something that you can make something outside of your standard. It's just a different ingredient that you can create. And
it's different.
Oftentimes people are like, I don't want what, if I asked my parents once, I'm like, do you guys have any instant coffee? They're like, no, why would we have instant coffee? And then I found some, and we made some better coffee, because for some reason their coffee always tastes freaking nasty. I don't know what it is, but they get the same beans we do, but it just tastes freaking nasty. So
I've heard of this happening, and I'm not saying this is your parents, but
probably
I've heard that the coffee maker's probably dirty or whatever they're using.
Oh, they're not maintenance people.
Okay. Are they buy something new people? Because I do that with some things.
they are. We bought this 7 years ago, and it still is kind of working. But since they've been tasting it the whole time, they don't understand that it's gross.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you drink it every day, you're like, oh, this is great. And then when somebody else comes in, they're like, you may want to check that. So Alana has gotten better at it. And I'm pretty good at it as far as our espresso machine, dude, I'm like, I like to like kind of tinker with it and take it apart and make sure everything's working good and looking good and all that stuff. And I like it. And to me, it's like I learned pretty early on about like having to clean those carafes. You remember the pump carafes, you know, in like hotels or whatever. And well, working in a hotel, they are vigilant about cleaning those things. And it's like, it's rock salt, it's a bunch of ice and just a little bit of cold water. And you sit there and swish it and swish it and swish it, pour it out. And you do that process probably like 10 times. And it gets all that stuff off the stainless steel on the inside. But it's just something that, you know, to me, it's like the utensil you use should be clean in order to get the best tasting coffee.
Yeah, here's an example of how they just don't get rid of things.
Okay.
You know the little cup frother that you set it down, it heats up your milk and it froths it just in foam.
Yeah.
They have one of those, but the heater stopped working. So now they heat milk on the stove, then they pour it in that to froth it, and then they pour it in their coffee maker. That thing's like $14.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah.
Yeah. Now I know that you weigh your beans out when you do your stuff. Do you now? I was watching something on the espresso maker that you and I both have. Do you time your shots, or are you just relying on the machine?
I every once in a while I do, but if I get a new bean, I do, and then if I can tell something's going on with it, then I'll just recalibrate it. But I don't time it every single time. And I'm at the point now with it where it's going to make it 95% as good without doing all that other stuff. And I don't need that extra 5%, especially for how many I make. Like I used to, at one point I had a thermometer in the foam or in the milk. And I would like pay attention and get it up to, my wife liked it at 160. I liked it at 150. And my daughter was like 140-ish.
Nice.
And now I can just hear the difference. Like the milk makes a different sound the hotter it gets.
Yeah.
And if you get to like 170, you've gone too far and you're just going to have a big cup of foam. There's like no milk in it. It's just like foam.
It's just foam.
So then it's like, I could just give that to my daughter and it's whatever.
Well, I mean, is it like espresso plus just foam? That's technically a cappuccino, right?
I think there's a little bit of milk in there, but it's much more foam than milk. So if you're trying to get your best bang for the buck, a latte is going to be a lot heavier, like a lot more calories in a latte than there is in a cappuccino, even though they could take up the same amount of volume.
Nah, that makes sense. I secretly, I'm not going to say envy or jealous. I love that you dive into the coffee because it's one thing that I've always really wanted to nerd out on, but I just never have. And so I get a lot of my stuff through you, and I appreciate that. So
my favorite way, and this is my way of making a cappuccino. I don't really follow too much on like how to do things properly, but what I found is the best way and the most appealing looking is, I don't know if you have any clear mugs like you. I have those double inflated mugs. I will foam my milk in there until it's like it's that hotter foam where there's just a whole lot of foam. You can't do any artwork with it. So that's in the cup, and then I do my shot into the milk cup, and then I will pour a perfect dot like right in the middle, and it'll sink right to the bottom and leave all the foam real nice and thick, and then you just kind of move a little bit of that foam around the top and you'll get rid of that little dot, and it's like the perfect looking cappuccino every time.
Wow. That's awesome. Anybody listening out there, you just got a free lesson, so just go out there and try that.
But it only really looks cool and works well in a clear cup.
Yeah. You mean you're not making all these cool like reels?
No.
I see a lot of those coffee ones where they're like really like intense and slow and everything is like ASMR. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I need to go down that road, but
I also drink it in like a minute and a half to 2 minutes,
which is great. I love that. Yeah. I've been on a thing where, well, last time we talked about it, you were like, yeah, I steam my milk every morning. And so I started trying it and I realized how easy it was to actually just steam it in the morning. Now I'm steaming it, making it, and drinking it before I leave the house. And I really like that because I hate leaving an empty coffee cup in my car and, whatever.
Are you doing how I told you, like the paper ripping sound is the initial part to insert the air and then just get it to cyclone and then walk away?
Yeah. I always look for the spin. It's got to spin, get it on a little bit of a tilt. Once it starts growing a little bit too much, I just throw it in there. And this is probably the dumb part of it, but I go by feel on the outside.
That's
and
fine.
Yeah, and it works out fine. I know what temperature I'm looking for. And
so 160 is where you can't hold it anymore. Okay. That's like that temperature where you're like, I have to take it out now because I can't get it any hotter. 150 is where you're like, I can handle this, but it's like an RPE 8.
Yeah. RPE 8. I just now got that.
And it'll go from like a higher pitch to like lower. It goes like, But then if you get the bloop, 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 that's where it's too far.
That's where it's too far. Exactly.
Yeah. That's my MSR tube.
I like that. Well, getting into some weightlifting talk, I just said that. I text you something. Like that. I texted you something not too long ago. I think it was Friday, maybe. I don't know, Saturday. Where was it? And it was asking you about the new weight classes and everything. And you had a pretty solid answer. I figured we'd talk about it. And what I was asking you was, hey, hypothetically speaking, I'm going to, Masters Nationals in Boise, and I'm going to be lifting at the 102 spot, which is where I've lifted for most of my time in the sport. And, but we know the weights or the weigh-ins are changing, and that's going to go down to a 98 for some people that are lifting at a 102. So can I still qualify for Worlds at 102 and lift at 98, or do I, and I was going down that road, and you had a pretty good answer. So I guess I'll just kind of pass it over to you and let you go away with this one. But it makes sense. Not that it's a great idea, or a great process, but it makes sense, I guess.
So for USAW is going to be different than USA Masters. USA Masters, for when you're a master and they know that this isn't probably your whole life. It could be a very large portion of your life, but it's not your whole life.
Right.
Being a master, you probably have a job. Hopefully you have a family and other things in life.
Yes.
So that like most of us masters, the Olympics are not the end goal. Yes. I mean, maybe as a spectator, but not necessarily as a competitor. I'm not saying you can't do it.
Yeah.
But I think that most of us are more level-headed about that. So in Masters, you are able to go up and down weight classes as long as you have made the qualifying total. I don't think you can go I don't think you can go down too many. I don't know all the rules with that, but I do believe that they give people a lot more grace with all that.
Yeah.
From what I found out that USAW did, I think it was a complete train wreck where, let's say you were an 89 lifter and you wanted to qualify for AO finals for 88. Well, you have to make weight now at 88, even though that's not the weight class. So if you weigh in at 88.999, you then have to qualify as a 98.
Oh, wow. Well, let me ask you a question about that. So do you have to, when you're like, I guess when you're weighing in, do you have to declare that? Do you have to say, hey, I'm really weighing in at an 88, or just those people probably don't even care at that?
Those people probably don't care what it I'm not involved with USAW much at all.
Yeah.
I mean, at all, other than I give them some money so that I can technically get into some of these competitions for free as a coach, but I give them a few $100s a year to do that.
Yeah.
It's probably, I'm assuming that when you sign up for, let's say, AO finals, they're going to check your body weight to make sure you've qualified.
I see. Okay. Yeah,
So
and that makes sense.
And it's not that big of a. I think that what they should have done is just let people 88 goes to 90, goes to 80, or 89 goes to 98, 96 goes to. I mean, that's a good one. But like, could you then compete? Here's another question: if you were normally 96, but you said screw it and you weighed in at 97.9, competed as a 102, but then are you qualifying then for a 98? I'm assuming that's how it is. It's just a freaking mess.
Yeah, it is a little weird. It kind of, I guess, in my opinion, it would have been just smart. Like, why are they doing it in the middle of the year? Just change it at the beginning of the year, so that way.
I just thought when you said that.
Like what the heck? Change it at the beginning of the year, so every meet that you're doing this year is that way. I'm gonna guess I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe there's a reason why they're doing it in June. I don't know what that would be, but to me, it's like change it at the beginning of the year. We change our ages at the beginning of the year, regardless of when our birthday is, right? So I'm not 45, but I'm technically in the year where I turn 45, so I have to compete as an M45 now. Fine with me, but just do the weight classes the same way.
My only guess, and I'm just speculating here on a lot of things, I don't know if there were any international competitions before June. So maybe that's going to be the first competition. That's just a guess.
Yeah.
And I don't think they had announced that stuff was changing before January 1st.
Oh, I did not know that.
I don't know when it came out. I'm not.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Up to date on all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
those are going to be the two things I'm going to put together is what I'm assuming it is.
So unorganization and lack of awareness. Sorry. That's the pessimist in me. The only reason I say lack of awareness is because you still have to qualify. If there's not an international meet, I get that, but like you still got to qualify for them. So let's just keep the weights or the 8 weight. I can't get my words right. The weight classes to where they should be, so you can qualify for that weight class.
I would say that the one other part that this is blown way too out of proportion for.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like the first national-ish meet.
Yeah.
The regional series meet of the year. This shouldn't be what you're necessarily trying to qualify. I mean, if you qualified for AO finals, great. Yeah. Actually, maybe this did have to do with nationals also, but I'm not sure.
Are you talking about this meet this past weekend?
Yeah, this might qualify you. The weight classes might be new for the senior nationals. I'm not sure. That's probably July. So maybe if you're trying to qualify for that, but you can qualify for all of those meets at local meets. You don't have to do it at these big meets. So,
well, that is true. And this meet was it was the Virus Series 1 American Open Arnold Series 1.
Yeah, it's the Frankenstein meet now. Just take a little piece of everything. Whoever's given the most money gets to put their name on the front.
Yeah, exactly. I will. I was told that. I mean, from the standpoint of the Masters, in order to qualify for Worlds, you had to either do it here or at Pan Am's. But I don't know. Is that true?
So Worlds, you have to qualify at a tested meet.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
US Masters. It's not USAW. So two different organizations. USAW dropped the ball and lost their sanction with IWF Masters. So
yeah, they did.
USA Masters, they were ready for this if this happened, and thankfully they did.
Yeah, and they seem like this will be my. And I'm ashamed to say, but this will be my first Cohen meet. That's who does this, right? And everything I've heard and everybody that I've talked to that's going to it is really, it's like, it seems like these are like, that's the side of the Masters. This is the side that you want to be competing in. Cause I did USAW last year. And although it was I thought they put it together really well. It was staged well. They had a good amount of space in the back. They had some music playing. I didn't see the online stuff, so I don't know what the announcers were like or whatever, but I felt like it was a pretty easy meet to go to and be at. But the one thing that I did feel was there wasn't as many people as you see. I didn't see most of the masters that I knew and that I've come in contact with. I saw some. I saw a good amount of people there. Don't get me wrong, but like, it seems like a majority of the at least bigger masters lifters are going to the side of USAW or USA Masters weightlifting.
Yeah. And I'm probably going to come across as a little bit of a dick on this show with some of the things I'm saying. And I'm not trying to be that way, but I'm just going to kind of point out some of the stuff that is frustrating for someone. And I've been around for now, I think it's been a dozen years.
Yeah.
My first competition was 10 years ago. So I was lifting for a couple years before that. But so Masters Nationals last year was basically like junior AO series. It was the same platforms, it was the same barbells, it was the same equipment. It was the same. Honestly, that's what AO finals was like too. And I was talking to some people who've been in this sport a lot longer than I have. And I talked to one guy, I don't want to put him out there who it is, but I was like, this isn't the meet I remember it being. It has lost all of its prestige, all of its big deal to be here, knowing that you can be 35 years old and your entry total to get in is a third less.
Yeah.
And F and J sessions at finals, and it's just solid juniors and masters and no seniors.
Yeah.
Like the seniors are in the A session and that's it.
Yep.
And what happened the back to last year's Masters Nationals is everyone that I had talked to who was there, who was going to both meets, they said, this is my test run meet. This is my practice meet. This is my last heavy day.
I like that.
The real competition is the one that can qualify you for international stuff. And that was the Cohen USA Masters meet. And I mean, I had a really good snatch day in the back room at Masters Nationals last year, and I out snatched my entire session's clean and jerks. That's how like the numbers weren't there. And for me to have lifted in at the Cohen meet 2 weeks later, I think there was like 16 people or 12 to 16 people in my session.
Yeah.
And there was, I think, how many people we would have been in the same session. I think there was
12. Yeah, no, you're right. 16
people between 89 and super.
Of them, yeah.
Between 89 and super, that was the session. In the 109 session, there was like 12 or something people at the USA Masters meet. So this is definitely like you're going to the real meet now.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I assumed. And, it's, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Training is what it is. I just, when it comes to lead ups to meets, I'm always, as you know me well. I'm always very conflicted in my brain about, and I think I can say that a lot of people feel like this, but maybe not, of how you should be lifting or how the body should feel or whatever. 'Cause you don't really like, one thing that I've had better awareness with this lead up is to understand, well, maybe I'm missing these lifts because I'm working really hard and my body is pretty tore up, which is going to lead to me being a little bit slower to get under the bar, but keep making the attempts, keep going at it. And I've seen over the past 3 sessions where I've started to turn a corner. And so that right there that tells me there's a little bit of mindset involved in that, and just get out of your damn head about it. There's also been a couple things that I've messed with within my training where I've thrown a couple extra things in that I know are good primers for me. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that as far as like, not necessarily the programming side of it, but understanding the effort you're putting in to lead up to something like this versus the effort you're putting in maybe towards a train through comp, or if you're not competing, what kind of effort are you putting in then, and why? Like, to me, I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, like, effort should be a question mark. Effort. Why am I putting effort into this? I can firmly say that with having a competition on the books, that's why. When I don't have a competition on the books, I'm usually doing it for social. Go with friends, go down to San Diego or whatever, or go, to Bend and lift with people over there. Like, it's a social thing and it's a fun thing. And if I miss a lift that I know I can make, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be all pouty about it, right? Yeah. And so I don't know. What do you think about that word effort? Do you think that needs to be attached to it?
I think it could also be purpose.
Oh, that's good.
Purpose and effort can, what's the purpose of what you're doing? Well, right now it's just to stay in the gym. It's to stay moving. It's to stay doing this stuff. And then you sign up for a competition, and then you're going to put in some more effort because you have more of a purpose. Of what you're doing.
I like it.
I think they're maybe not interchangeable, but I think that they complement each other very well.
Absolutely.
And if you look at a lot of lifters who don't compete anymore, and who don't, maybe their bodies are kind of tapping out and they're just kind of lifting for the sake of lifting. Like, you can tell that they don't really have a purpose. They're not following a program. They're not necessarily trying to get better. They're just out there having fun. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
It's best when you don't just keep talking about the good old days and what you used to do, because nobody cares about what people used to do. It's what you can do now. And I think that's more important. And it's just because you might be like, I'm lifting a lot less now than I was a year ago. I'm lifting a substantial amount less now than I was 6 months ago. But I'm still trying to move the best that I can and lift the best that I can, even though it's not what I know that I was capable at one point in life. So
yeah. And I think there's the understanding that there should be a moment in our weightlifting life that will probably peak, and there's a moment that you start to trend down. That's just how life goes. You're not going to always peak. You're not going to always be at the top of your game, especially as we know, getting older means we got to do less, or we got to be smarter about what we do. Not just do less, but be smarter about what we do and how we do it and when we do it.
Wow.
It's I heard somebody say the other day, and I've been trying to rack my brain on who said it, but they were like, yeah, if you're not competing, why not max out every day or every Friday? But if you are competing, don't listen to me. And that totally makes sense to me. I get it. I'm probably still not going to max out every Friday if I'm not competing. But what I am going to do is I'm going to say, F the program, and I'm going to do what I want today. And sometimes I do that anyways. I did that this week, where I was like, you know what? I'm putting the program away, and I'm just going to get out here. I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to do whatever I want. And I think that's what's really helped with turning the corner in my mental state of things, because, and I've talked about this before, I am a person about consistency and not about necessarily the results. And I don't know what that is about me. I like to be able to hang my hat on this idea that I will always show up at all times, regardless of how hard it is. It may mean that I'm probably not going to do as good at sometimes. But I think we all have our things we hang our hats on. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that if you don't not lifting enough weight, you're trash, or if you don't have the medals, you're trash, or whatever. But that's the beautiful thing about the sport, is you can make it what the fuck you want it to make it. Sorry for the cussing.
No, I think that was said perfectly. And It is funny. I have a couple of friends. I thought we were closer than we are because I didn't get the invite, but they're up at SoCal, and Dozer came down, and they went all to Mike Bergner's gym.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I was like, I want to be like, dude,
I saw
that's
that.
like 10 miles from my house.
Yeah.
Like,
What's
I
up?
would have dropped whatever I was doing to go out there. But
You mean you
lot,
didn't get the Evite?
no. So it's okay. I forgive you guys.
Yeah.
I was proud of you for the lifts you did. So these guys, they're on a very strict program. Like,
yeah,
it's one of the things that kind of bothers me with a lot of the guys who lift out of a specific gym. I'm not going to re-say the name.
Right.
Those people are so bought into the program, and this is what you do, and this is, you don't stray from the program, and you just do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they ever do. But then Dylan Cooper comes down, and those guys all had a heavy session at Mike's garage, and one guy hasn't hit anything over 120 in over a year since a wrist injury.
Okay.
He hit 140 or 145. Another guy, he hasn't, I think he said he cleaned 70, and it's the first time he's cleaned 70 in like 3 years.
Wow.
Another guy, Cesar Flores, a lot of people know who he is.
I saw that.
Hit a PR snatch, PR clean and jerk, and you put those together, it's a PR total. Like, there's no pressure, but also I think we were talking about this, where if you're going to go out and lift with someone who's a lot better than you, you're going to step your game up and not want to be you're not going to want to be the pussy who's like not stepping up.
Exactly.
And when I watched that session, I was like, all these guys, like, they put their money where their mouth was. They went for it, and they got to have the benefit of it.
Yeah. So, I like that. And I think I saw Caesar's his lift, and I was like, oh, he was at Bergner's gym. What the heck? I know that garage. Yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's cool that they I'm gonna assume that was this weekend, right?
It was this week.
Yeah. And they did that on, I like the idea of like saying, hey, there's a competition going on right now, but hey, we're going to go over to Bend, and we're going to, like, 5 of us are going to meet up, and we're going to have our own little type, like, max out shit and have fun. And there's something cool about that too. And I guess what I like about that is that, and this is going to come off a bit, and maybe not haterish, but like, you don't need USAW to go out there and lift a big lift.
Well, it's kind of like a lot of people right now on the dark side of the barbell of the CrossFitters. The open is going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many people, the question is, why am I going to pay money just to get ranked? Like, their gym's doing the open, so they're just going to go do the open without paying money to do the open. I've done this multiple times where there's a big meet going on, but I don't have time to travel and to go do that stuff. But I'll do a meet a week before, and then I'll just mentally be like, all right, here's my total. Where would I have ranked? Be like, cool, I would have gotten 11th place.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with that.
That something just popped in my head as you were just saying that, which is the idea that, like, I know it's put out there that, like, you got to have medals around your neck and all this metal stuff. That's what makes you a weightlifter. But I'm going to challenge that and say, I think that you're a more dedicated weightlifter if you're out there doing these type of things outside of paying for them. Yeah. Or outside of the pressure, or outside of the glamour you get from putting a medal around your neck. I got a handful of medals. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. People say something about them, whatever. But I paid for them. I paid for them in my training, my body, but I also paid money for them. And so, hey, let's take the money out. Let's go have our own little thing and have a good time, make some good food, and be around some good friends, and still lift heavy weights. There's something really beautiful about that with the sport. I think that's fun. And that's why I like the whole idea of camps. I love the idea of camps. You go out there, you lift, you do double days, and then at the very end, you have this big, like, max out session. And that, to me, is like, I'd rather pay money to go to a camp to do that than
100%
go to a competition,
Well, I was messaging back and forth a little bit with Jared Kuhn the other day, and he just put like a blanket statement out. He's like, hey, if anyone wants to go heavy, I'm gonna have my first heavy day in like 3 months or something tomorrow. If anyone wants to show up, I'll be getting in the gym at 9. I'll be like, hey bro, I'm really sorry, but I don't think I can make it. And
doesn't he live? He lives in Ohio or no?
Like
he's over
Rhode
there.
Island, I think Rhode Island or something.
Oh wow, okay.
But
wow.
then he said he wants to put on a master's camp at his gym, and I'm like, oh, that would be so.
I'm there. I am so there.
So
like that's the type of stuff you don't want to miss. And to me, it's because of the relationships you build. It's because of, the food and, you break bread with all these people and then you go out and you lift weights and you do it for multiple days. And I've always been the type of guy that has loved a very small, tight knit group of people. And I don't have a ton of friends and I'll be okay. I'm okay with that. Like, but the friends that I do have are close, good friends that I can count on and trust and all that. And so like, you've seen me at these meets, dude. I get quiet.
You're a little turtle.
I stopped talking.
You're a turtle. You just put your hood up and just disappear for a little while. That's okay,
and it's okay, right? But like to me, I think for a person like me, I love the camp idea. I think it's such a great concept, and boy, would I pay some money for that. Anybody?
Yeah, but I mean, also competitions are great. I think that there's a time and a place for them.
I agree.
I am a big proponent. Trying to get my big fancy words out.
Big words. I like it.
About if you have a PR board on your wall at the gym, if there's a total on there, that needs to be a competition total, not the best total you made in your gym on the same day and all that kind of crap. This sport is about what your total is. It's not about what your snatch is. It's not about your clean and jerk is.
Yep.
You can't go out there and win AO1 Arnold virus thing with just snatching.
I love
even
that
if you snatched 300 kilos and the winning total was 299, you wouldn't win. You would you would not have finished the competition.
Correct.
So I don't care about the snatch and the clean jerk, about those being in competition or not, because that's not what's going to win it. It's about what the total is, and that should be the holy sanctioned of like, that's what your competition total is. And
I agree with that.
At a camp, let's say you've got something going on with your hips or your back or something, and you're like, everyone else is going from the floor, and you're like, hey guys, I have to go from the hang. It's like, okay, cool, let's go have fun. Like there's not the stupid rules, and like there's rules for competition that makes sense. So everyone's on the same playing field. You go to a camp, the whole purpose of the camp is to, like you said, camaraderie and have fun and have a good time and build relationships. And that is so much more than the competition. The competition, you can only really, I don't want to step on people's toes, but like you're only going to be competitive for a certain amount of time. Yeah, there's different weight or age brackets and stuff where you can kind of always compete. But at the end of the day, we're all going to have our peak, and then all of us are going to never be that good after the peak.
Yeah, it's very true.
But at a camp, you can have so much fun forever. I remember talking or just hearing a guy on a surf video a long time ago talking about how surfing is one of the greatest things that you can do it with groups of friends, because you can always get a bigger board. You can always ride a smaller wave. You can do this till you're in your 80s and 90s if you live by the ocean and you have access to that stuff. And I think weightlifting is like that as well, but it doesn't mean you have to keep competing. Like, I haven't quite done it yet, but not that I really care what anybody thinks, but I'm almost at the point where I'm going to put retired weightlifter on my Instagram and just say I'm good. Like I've done what I wanted to do. I know that I put everything else out there. I think that I skirted that line with the guy who got too close to the sun and burned up and died. I think that I got as close to like ending it in weightlifting by getting injured as possible. Like I don't think I had anything realistically left, and I can say that I'm happy with what I did. And I don't need to talk about like what I did, and back in my day I did this and that and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, and something that I think is you should hold your head up high about, and I really like this, is that you are, for the most part, walking away when you do say retired, or not that you're walking away from the sport, but when you do that, you're going to be doing that with no major injuries. That's making you do that. Yeah. And I think that makes a big difference when you can make the choice rather than something else make the choice for you. And that speaks a lot to like how you lift and how you know your body and all the aftercare, all that stuff that you do. Because how many times do you hear, yeah, shoot, I can't lift anymore. I blew out my knee, or, I ruptured my quad tendon. I'm done. Can't do it anymore. Like that right there. That's like, I have one analogy, but I'll keep it to myself. But that's just like not being able to, finish what you're trying to do. It doesn't leave you well. And so you're like always trying to push and push and push. And next thing you know, the sport's not even fun anymore. And you're stuck in this mode of like trying to be something you're not, and trying to be something you were 10 years ago or whatever. Just accept it. Find a different avenue in the sport. Go to camps, get hooked up with other gyms, and be an advocate for people, because boy, could this sport need some, have some good advocates to help the younger guys and stuff. Like, that's always been a dream of mine at any sport I've ever played, is like to be that person that helps coach the young guys and gives them a little bit of this old guy knowledge. And that's why I coach flag football for my son, is because I'm like, I want to give these kids knowledge. And when you see that knowledge translate into their performance, oh boy, I'll tell you, selfishly, it is a freaking amazing feeling. Well, you're just like, wow, that worked.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think that was going to work, but it works now. But no, there's something really gratifying about that. So like, for you, I mean, I can't imagine you're ever going to be like, yep, I'm retired. I'm never even going to look, think, or do anything about weightlifting never again. You're not that type of person. But
I don't think that I can do that. Yeah. I can definitely see myself taking steps back, especially after I move.
Yeah.
I will not have the gym the gym and the gym family that I have now, and I don't know if I'm gonna want to immerse myself quite like that again. There might be a time where I do a comeback or whatever, but it will definitely be after my kids are out of the house, and I don't want to miss the last few years I have with them. So, but I'm kind of just in this whatever. Like, I had a good run, and I can keep jogging, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you can keep on. You can wake up and you can have your Delgado. Yeah. You can have your coffee in the morning, and you can feel good about what you've been done. And so, like, that's a great way to end the show. Like, isn't that the goal? Is to look back at life and be like, yeah, I accomplished what I wanted to do. I don't know if that's ever always going to be 100%, but you know what? Cornell and I, we kind of swap this saying back and forth. Control what you can control and leave the rest. Just don't worry about the rest, because that's all it is. And the weightlifting you can control on how you're doing for the most part. So, yeah.
I like it.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. Fun show. A lot of good stuff talked about, and get out there on YouTube and watch the show. I'm a little behind on posting for the audio version of it, but I will definitely I think I'm one behind on that. So, but thank you for listening. Cornell, thank you for being here, and everybody have a great night. Adios.
Bye.